Sup nerds! Welcome back to my channel, guys. Have I shown you my big jug of water? She's a gallon. And I'm trying to drink it as often as possible. Well, it's hard, but I was just holding it, so I wanted to show you guys that. Anyway, hello. Today, I'm so freaking pumped. We are doing the mid-year book tag. I've seen 8 billion people do this on BookTube, but the person I like that made me do it, that I was like, oh yeah, I watched hers first and before everyone else's, and I was like, oh yes, it was Sarah Caroli. I don't know how to say her last name, but I don't know who created it, who started it, but she's the one I saw first before everyone else's. So I wanted to do it. I know it's a little late, if you will, but whatever. I thought it would still be fun. Last week I did post a vlog, which is super fun and fresh, but the week before I did do my favorite books of the year. So I didn't see this at first, so that's why I had to wait till the last week of the month. Anyway, there are 11 questions. I did notice some people either added their own, or I don't know if Sarah had taken some out, but there was a couple other questions going around that I won't answer. We'll just do the 11. But yes, if you guys like books, if you like all the nerdy things, definitely hit the subscribe video. Definitely hit the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up. Now, let's just get started. Alright, so first things first is best book you've read so far. Like I just said, I did do a video of my favorite books of the year. So I feel like, again, depending on the day, whatever, this answer might change. But this book did something to my soul that I could not talk about it. And that is Dear Aaron by Mariana Zapata. I am so in love with this book. It's not even freaking funny. If you guys don't know, I'll just read you the back because I always feel like sometimes it's easier for me to explain it than read the back, but in this case, it's easiest to read the back. So it says, some days all you need is a message from a stranger. Ruby Santos knew exactly what she was getting herself into when she signed up to write a soldier overseas. The guidelines were simple. 1 letter or email a week for the length of his or her deployment. Care packages were optional. It says, been there, done that. She thought she knew what to expect. What she didn't count on was falling in love with the guy. And I'm that was enough to hook me. I was obsessed. If you guys don't know, the first I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, I was surprised, and I had I had looked through the back to see, to kind of spoil it for myself, if you will. But if you guys don't know, the first half of this book is all just emails back and forth. So there are no thoughts, there are no there's no thoughts. It's literally just a conversation back and forth, if you were to go through and scroll through someone's email. But I freaking love that. I've never seen that before, and it did something to my soul that I'm obsessed. So good, so cute. One of my favorite, it's hard. One of my favorite books for sure this year, definitely up there as number 1. I couldn't pick a number 1, but this one is number 1. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so then this next one is best sequel you've read so far. Now, a sequel, I believe, is the second book in a series. And so I was very confused because I had seen people's answers and they had just been saying best series that they've read. They said the word sequel, but they were just talking about series that they read. And so I was like, I don't know. And that's the thing too. I haven't even read, first of all, even the few series that I did read, the sequels were nothing good at all. So I was honestly, the best being the best of subpar is not really that exciting. But this one I did want to mention because I did actually really enjoy it. And the series is not finished yet either, so that's why I'm it's hard to explain. But that is The Temporary Wife by Catharina Maura. I freaking love this book. It is so good. It is the second book in the series. Again, this is not even really a series is the problem too, because I read a lot of books like that. I guess this one is more a series than some of the other books, but you don't have to read them all. You get everything you need from this, there is no, I don't know how to explain it. So for this series, there are I guess 5 or 6 different siblings. They're all siblings, so they each get their own book, but you get the story in one full book, so you're not wondering questions. There are no questions in this one that you need to read the rest to answer, you know what I mean? So it's hard to describe it as a series, but I guess it is technically a series because they're all brothers, and then one sister. Anyway, this book is so good. So if you guys don't know, they're all the siblings have to be in arranged marriages. So that's what this is. They're all billionaire romance, has my heart. I'm obsessed. And it's just such a good book. Wow, that was so like difficult. I don't know why I'm like having trouble with words today. It's a bad day to be having trouble with words, but basically his secretary works for him, and he gets in arranged marriages, but they kind of have this weird tension thing going on, so definitely read it to find out. I can't remember if you, I think it does tell you, yeah, he secretly marries his secretary. It says it all in the back. And of course the number one rule is don't fall in love, but like, yeah, right. Yeah, right. That one is super. Both of those books that I just mentioned are open door romances, so they have some scenes in there that are not the best. But for Dear Aaron, I honestly, part of me wants to just like take like either staple those pages together or like do something with that chapter so that my sister can read it, because Dear Aaron is so good. And so some of my other friends don't like to read open door romances either, so and I would want them to read that book because it's so good. Anyway, okay, lucky number 3 says new release you haven't read yet, and that is, of course, Miss Happy Place. I'm saving this for a video, so that's why, and I'm very excited about that video, but I need to save it. So this is, again, Emily Henry Happy Place. Everyone and their mom is talking about this, and I cannot wait to read it. Honestly, I'm a little bit scared because I typically, like, when people hype up stuff, I have a really hard time. Like, movies in general, if people are like, oh, it's so good, so good, I'm always like the one who's like, is it that good? So I'm scared to read it, but I'm very excited to read it, and I've heard just amazing freaking things about it, so definitely excited about that. Obviously, another one too is The Fourth Wing, but I just don't have it yet. It's still not in my hands, and that makes me so sad. I ordered it though like a month ago. Okay, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I forgot to pull it up, but that is from Elena Armas. Yeah, Elena Armas, The Long Game. So if you guys don't know, Elena Armas wrote the American Roommate Experiment and the, what the heck is it called? And the Spanish Love Deception. I love those books so much. They're so good. So she's coming out with The Long Game, which I'm so excited to see. I heard like a rumor that it may or may not, so excited to read. I heard a rumor that it may or may not still be connected to the first 2 books. I don't know though for sure, but I'm so pumped to read it and I cannot wait. She only has 3 books out, so at least like other authors that like I'm excited to, they're releasing stuff the second half of the year and I'm excited to read. I have like other books I could pick up from them because they're only the 3rd book of all the other books they have, you know what I mean? Like they have so many other books, but she only has those 3 and the one I'm waiting for. I've read the first 2 already. It's so bad, but so good. So number 5 is the biggest surprise, and this surprised the freaking crap out of me. This is Lauren Asher, The Final Offer. If you guys have not heard any of me talk about these books at all, again, billionaire romance to me has been like one of my favorite things recently, but I did not love the first 2 books in this series. I just didn't think they didn't hit as hard as I wanted them to. I felt like the boyfriends, the guys weren't like, didn't like take my heart, you know what I mean? This Callahan took my heart. He done stole it, and I guess people don't like it. It's so big. It is whatever, so big, whatever. I don't know what they don't like about it, but Callahan, he just takes his journey, like his love for Alana is so freaking cute, and this is Friends to Lovers. And, well, Friends to Lovers to Second Chance Romance kind of, also Second Chance Romance kind of, so it's a little bit of everything, but he freaking, like, the growth that Callahan has is honestly one of the best books that I've read as far as growth in a character. Like, he's not sitting here saying, oh, I want to change, like, he's not sitting here, I want to change, like, I don't actually want to change, you know what I mean, but I'm going to do it because I want to be with you. Like, he has to change his thinking and say, you know what, I want to change because I know it's what's best for me, but then also I want to change because I know what's best for you and I want to be a part of your life. And so he just, oh my gosh, he goes through like such a huge character shift, and I love it. Is so beautiful because the other 2 didn't do that, and that's why I love it. It was so surprising because I was like, there's no way. I reading it, I was kind of like, okay, here we go again. But it literally surprised the crap out of me. It is so good, and I 10 out of 10 recommend. Honestly, like, I might read the whole series again just to reread this book. I could read it without that, but without them, but still, it is just so superb. And Callahan, you go, Gun Coco. So good, so good. I also, if you guys don't know, the three brothers each have their own book. So the grandfather gives them each a task that they have to complete so that they get their inheritance. And for Callahan, he has to sell this lake house that his ex is living at. And so you can guess how that goes. Okay, so number 6 is a favorite new author, and it's at a debut or new to you. And these authors are both new to me, Mariana Zapata and Catharina Maura, and both of them I'm obsessed. Like, I want every book because they're both amazing. Mariana Zapata, I've like, oh my gosh, there are so many books that I like are in my cart that I just gotta wait to purchase. But I also really freaking love Catharina Maura. It is just perfection. I love these two authors. They're not debut authors, but they're new to me, so I counted it. This one is so hard, so freaking hard. It's newest fictional crush, and it is so hard because I have so many options. And after like the freshest book that I read, always the guy is always like the freshest love, if you will. So I had to really sit there and say, like, who do I like? Literally, like, if they were all standing in front of me, who would it be like? Come with me, let's go, you're mine forever. Like, who would I be? And I was torn. And I'll mention a few other ones that I think were also, like, I love Callahan. Aaron from Dear Aaron is also so freaking cute. But something about a vampire. Jackson! I love him. I love him so much. This is the Tracy Wolf the Crave series. If this book gave me anything, it is Jackson. That's the only thing that this book did right for me. And it was giving me Jackson. I love him so much. He's just this like mysterious vampire who like he ends up having like the first introduction of him is he has a scar. He's just constantly mean mugging. He's just like hates the world. He's always wearing dark black. He's very intimidating. Very like honestly, if I was thinking, if I would picture him as any one of the Cullens, it would probably be closest to like Jasper meets Edward. So it's like Edward's vibe. Edward's kind of look like the hotness to Edward and like the way he's just like, I'm trying but I'm not trying. But also like the way Jasper's kind of more mysterious, more like stay away from me kind of vibe. You know what I mean? Like if they had a baby, it would be freaking Jackson in my head. And I think they're making a movie and I'm like, if they do Jackson wrong, I will not watch. I will not watch because he is so freaking perfect. I think his character definitely got worse throughout the series. She did him so injustice. He could have been so good because that bad boy like kind of vibe. She tries to basically ruin his bad boy kind of vibe and saying like, oh, he has a heart. And like he always had a heart, you know? There's just a good whatever. Anyway, this book though, this first one, the Jackson in this one is the love of my life. Like truthfully the love of my life. And he just is constantly thinking about his girl and just he's always trying to be there for her and he's always trying to protect her, which they kind of again dog on during the rest of the series. But this series, Jackson, my lover. Yeah. And in my head, he's so hot too. In my head, he's so fun. I love that boy. Ugh, so good. It's so like a childish too because I think he's like, well actually he's a vampire so he's been living for like a couple hundred years but like he's like 18 in this and it's so like childlike but I just love him. Again, there's so many other crushes that I have but him spoke to the soul. I'm like if he was standing there, just the fact that he's a vampire already sets him like a little bit above the above the boyfriend kind of, you know what I mean? Anyway, I love him. Okay, then it's number 8, book that made you cry. This one I sobbed like a freaking baby. This is Pittacus Lore. I am number 4. And there are a few other books that I remembered crying in. And I remember there was this one book that I think it was this one though, that I literally was like sobbing, crying. If you guys have seen the movie, you know what happens, but one of the characters does end up dying. And just the scene is so sad. Like you are so hurt. And it's not even like it's not even real, but you are like so sad for this kid and everything that they're saying, like the way they're saying it, the final like breath, the guy who's dying, like the final thing he says is just like everything about it was so depressing. I cried so hard, and I really like the series. I gotta finish the series, but I freaking cried so hard like a dumb baby. And I saw the movie before reading this. I knew it happened. But because, again, the author just wrote it so well, I was a mess, a freaking mess. Of course, number 9, a book that made you happy, and that was totally Tessa Bailey. It happened one summer. At first, I was like, no, I was not gonna read it because it was in third person. I was like, no, I'm not gonna read it right now. I can't do it. I'm so glad that I freaking did because this book was so funny. I laughed out loud. I sent my sister so many quotes. I literally could have laughed and peed my pants laughing if I was watching the kids for nap time, and so they're all asleep, so there's nothing I could do, so I was reading, and I literally was cracking the freak up, like literally just dying of laughter, and there was nothing I could do. I was just sitting there like trying to be quiet. I was like, I'm just dying. It's just so many funny quotes. I love this book. It made me so happy, and so happy that I read the second one like super, super fast, and also this boy, I know his name. Brendan. I love Brendan too. He is so cute. I'll talk about this book more like when I do my reading wrap up, but he is just like, so he also is one of those like guys who like he wants to better himself for the girl, and I love that as well. But he's also no like BS kind of guy. Like he lets her know that he's into her, and like that's that. Like he had his way of doing stuff, but when he realized, hey wait, like I like you, he was like, how about we go? Like he was very chill, but he was also a little bit nervous. Like he wanted to do everything right by her, and it was so cute. He ends up like taking her to like this fancy hotel, like this bougie stuff, because he knows she'll like that. And she's like, wait, hold on, you're rich? And he's like, well, yeah. And it's so cute. I love Brendan too. But I love that book. I have not talked about it yet, so that's why I'm like holding it in. Okay, next was most beautiful book so far. One that you've purchased or were gifted or whatever. This one I also don't have because honestly, there are so many pretty books. I just think of like beautiful books. I'm like, first of all, I think they meant like cover wise, also not like beautiful heartfelt, because I also didn't have an answer for that, even if that was the case. And so I was like, beautiful, like it depends on the day. And then after I read it, sometimes it like, because I've seen it so much, it gets less beautiful in my head, because so many, there's also cool. But I think for the one that I did just order Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. So they just released, hopefully I get this cover. They just released this cover on Barnes & Nobles, and so I pre-ordered it, even though it's not coming till November, because I was like, I will not, like, be waiting as long as I was waiting for this book once that one's released, you know what I'm saying? So I pre-ordered it. Hopefully I get this cover, because that cover is stunning. So freaking stunning, and I think both of them, even just, what is it called? Even just Fourth Wing is honestly super gorgeous, and I cannot wait to read it. But it is so pretty, like, as compared to all my other ones, this is the most, like, yes kind of cover. So I really don't have that this exciting cover looking collection. I also don't like, I know people buy like specific editions and stuff like that. I'm not into that yet. So for now it's just like, you know, whatever, but those are so gorgeous. All right, and then so the last question, last but not least, it's what do you want to read by the end of the year? And honestly, like I have so many books that I want to read for the end of the year, so I wasn't going to bring them all, but I definitely want to read ACOTAR. I want to read the whole series, hopefully by the end of the year, because honestly I feel like once I start I won't be able to stop. And this one is probably one of those that I probably will end up reading by the end of the year because it's so good. I've heard it's so good. But I definitely want to read the ACOTAR series. This one, hopefully I can read by the end of the year. This is the Harry Potter series. I tried to read it, but now that I've loved a book that was third person, I'm like, okay, let's give it a try again. There's another book I'm currently reading that's also third person, and I feel like the authors get to play around with, like, you know, kind of just hearing everyone's thoughts when you do that. I feel like it got super bright for no reason. But I feel like they get to play around with so many people's thoughts and like just the scenes and stuff. Like you get a little bit more insight that way. And I did hate it at first because I read a horrible book in third person, but I feel like now it's like, okay, let's just try again. So I think I will be able to read the Harry Potters. I also got this for Christmas last year, so I don't want to not read it by Christmas this year because like that's bad. So I think I want to finish the Harry Potter series as well. Maybe I'll start this next month. I have so many series though that I'm like in the middle, because I'm in the middle of the Catharina Maura series-ish thing. What are they called? The Windors series? Windstores. Then I want to read ACOTAR. I'm reading I Am Number 4. And then I'm reading another one by Katie Robert. So many series that I'm reading. And then Harry Potter. Like, that's a lot. But I definitely want to read those by the end of the year. Yes, guys, that's everything. Let me know all your answers to the question, or maybe just your number one book so far. Again, I did do a favorites video 2 weeks ago, so if you want to see that, definitely check it out. I just talk about all my favorite books that I've read this year, and so that is kind of a better insight than just my number one favorite book this year, you know what I mean? I have so many videos planned for next month. I am so excited. Also, please tell me how you liked my vlog last week. It was so much fun to film and just like completely chill with you guys and just kind of like do a reading. Like, it was just so chill. I loved that, and so I definitely want to do more of those, but let me know how you guys are feeling. Anyway, oh, did I tell you I'm wearing the sweatshirt that I hauled in that video last week? So much freaking fun. It's so cute now that, you know, I washed it. It smells good. It's nice. Again, I still think it's a little snug for a 2X because I have sweaters that are like extra large and they're not this, like they fit just like this. So I'm like a 2X, I feel like would be a little bit, whatever. Either way, I feel like size up if you're getting it. But if you don't know, it says I blame author Abby Jimenez for my unrealistic dating expectations because her guy in one of her books also almost made it in this video, but I was like, Jackson still took the cake. But anyway, I love all her men. Love all the men she writes. See you in next week's video, guys. Bye, nerds.